DPS. Alright, I'll show you what I got. This is tank, starting with tank. So for the weapon socket, I got absorption adapter 5. Weapon attacks have a chance to activate a shield, reducing damage by 75% until damage equal to 30% of your health is prevented. This effect may only occur once every 60 seconds. Alright, head mod. Alright, this one's specifically for rage tank. Energize eviscerating chain reduces 3% of your power when you use rage. Eviscerating chain. This effect can only occur once every 10 seconds. Neck mod. Fortified blocking 5. Blocking increases your defense by an additional 10%. Back socket. Weakening field. Enemy players striking you have a chance to reduce their control resistance by 30% for 8 seconds. Chest. Quick healing. Gain an additional 2% bonus to healing received. Now, being that I'm rage, the loadout I'm using, I don't have a supercharge. If you did have a supercharge, you might want to use, there's one that increases your supercharge ability, or your bar for your supercharge. Legs, I haven't found one. I have some mods, but I don't use those powers, so I haven't found one that's I haven't found a leg socket that goes with the powers I'm using right now, so I didn't find no point to put one in at the moment until I find one. Hands, regenerative shielding, heal yourself when using a shield superpower. And then feet, deadly block. Your block counter causes additional damage equal to 5% of your precision. Alright, let's go take a quick look at you don't have to do it for this one, because this one is tank, fortified blocking, because I use that on all my other characters most of the time. Alright, I'm going to switch to DPS and show you what we got there. Alright, weapon, blast adapter 5. Head, I got energized dreadful blast. That would be specific for rage. Reduces 3% of your power when you use rage, dreadful blast. Neck, I got fortified blocking. This isn't really meant for DPS role, but I like to use it because I like the extra defense when blocking, more so than the little bit of extra might or precision that you get from, there's one that's called escalating might, and then there's one that's called or it's called might something, and then there's one that's, I'm gonna go look at it in a second and we'll see what it is. And there's one for precision based too. Back socket, berserker. Your damage output increases by an additional 10% when your health drops below 35%. Chest, penetrating strikes. Your attacks ignore 2% defense and toughness. Leg socket, restorative plasma retch. Heals you a small amount when you use rage plasma retch. I don't have a good one to put in there, so I usually don't use I usually don't use Rage Plasma Retch. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If I'm doing, so I like to tank in the raids, and I usually don't. I usually do melee and everything else. So in the raids, if I gotta do a range loadout, it'll come in handy. But I couldn't find anything else to put in here besides this. Hands max damage. Using a superpower increases damage by 2% for a short time. And for feet, I got deadly block. Now, being I don't use range, I'm not a range DPS with this guy. If I was a range DPS, I'd be using explosive block. This is a rage character, and I'm using melee. I like to keep people close to me. I don't want them bouncing around, so I use deadly block. We'll take a quick look at the DPS one for the neck. Besides the blocking one I'm using, the one that increases your blocking ability. Alright, for DPS, you have either escalating might, if you're might based, or relentless precision if you're precision based. And they got this new one out called Guardian Angel. You could experiment with that one if you wanted to. And it's if you lose 75% of your health in a 5-second period, heal 30% of your health. Now I figure if you lost 75% in that quick of a time, 30% might not do you a whole lot of good, but it's worth experimenting with, maybe. But I prefer the fortified blocking. You get an extra 10% defense, and it's pretty effective, and it's always active. It works all the time.